It's time to raise the roof for our latest regular season episode and technically our second part of our 2026 Raise season preview podcast. Our guest, who unfortunately overslept this morning as of this recording, but he's here with us today. He's been on the podcast a couple times at this point. Our boy Ethan, running from the ops. If you guys don't follow him on social media, which if you don't, you're living under a rock. Ethan, thank you so much for coming on, man. Glad we were able to get something done today. Happy opening day. Just how you doing?
Yeah, Alex, happy opening day. And I overslept, but I certainly didn't oversleep for Brandon Lau's two home run game so far. I know the game's not done yet, but just an absolutely special talent and showcasing his power at the second base position, which is probably second to none.
Man, I mean, it'd be great if like the team that originally had him still had him, but
Yeah, I mean, it just
yeah.
you can't ask for much more for I mean, if you're a Pirates fan, like just I mean, what a debut for I mean, probably your headline guy outside of maybe like O'Hearn to come over and just have a two homer game against Freddie Peralta, who's probably a one or two on most teams. So it's just sad to see, but also you got to be happy for him at the same time.
No, very true, very true. I 100% agree on that. But yeah, I mean, so I wanted to make sure that we had you on. I wanted to get your thoughts on the season, everything like that. Of course, we have this series coming up, and we are recording this on opening day, but it's going to come out on Friday. So we'll miss opening day. So whatever happens between the Rays and Cardinals as of today, we won't know when this recording happens or when this recording gets put out. But still, plenty of excitement going on. On Lau, I think it's very interesting. And I want to get into this to start off with your thoughts on the season. Speaking of power, we saw a lot of power out of Ben Williamson in the middle infield, and he's going to be the starting second baseman for the Rays after what happened with Gavin Lux going on the IL. Much different situation in the middle infield compared to what Rays fans expected going into the season, which I think is very interesting. At the same time, you look back and you're like, well, maybe if they don't trade Bilal and if they don't trade Caballero, those two guys end up being your guy. But regardless, we have Carson Williams and Ben Williamson. They're starting out with that and looking at the rest of the infield before we kind of expand out further. What are your thoughts about that, specifically what the middle infield configuration is right now?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Ben Williamson has had a fantastic spring. I've always been a believer if you can kind of put the ball in the air and you have really good contact skills, power is going to come over time. I think we're starting to see that. He had, I think it was 8 defensive runs saved at third. He can play short. He's going to be playing second base. So I like what we've seen from him. Just a really solid defender, mature approach at the plate, consistently puts the ball in play. And Carson Williams, like, I mean, I'm so excited for him that he's able to, make the opening day roster. And the spring I thought was fantastic, was chasing a lot less pitches out of the zone. Certainly looked better than the stint that we saw at the MLB level. And one thing that I've noticed with him throughout his career, if you go and look at the home and away splits with the minors, completely different player. So it'll be exciting to see how his game translates at the MLB level. I mean, I would say a walking 2020 player if he's able to just get some run, really good pop, able to put the ball in the air, and is a premier defender at short. So obviously high upside with both of them, but it's going to be really, really fun to watch them turn double plays with how good their defense is.
Yeah, and then there doesn't seem to be much of a, Junior's going to be playing third. Maybe there's, it's probably going to be the same platoon thing with Aranda and Yandy, figuring out first and DH. I'm sure it'll be more emphasis on Aranda than Yandy at first. But I mean, do you see anything unforeseen in either of those places in the infield, or is it just business as usual like last year?
Yeah, I would just say business as usual. I mean, Ben can certainly go in and fill those days where like, Yandy or Ronda need a day off and Junior's DHing and he can go and plug in at third base. But no, I mean, the corner infield for the team is just going to be absolutely insane. I mean, right? Like I think you look at Jonathan Aranda's season last year, if he's fully healthy, I mean, this guy was simply one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball. WRC plus was, I think, 146. And then Junior Caminero just had an absolute show in the WBC. And I mean, he's certainly looking for another huge year. So not too many, I mean, changes there, but certainly like, if a guy needs a day off, Ben Williamson can go over there and play third base. And it'd be interesting to see how, Trey Morgan develops or maybe some of the, the other guys in the minors that can come up and play first as the season comes on.
Yeah, it's very true. I am curious on Williamson. Now, I don't know if that power because it was I mentioned it on our season preview podcast that we put out today, end up being yesterday when this thing comes out. But he hit 12 homers in a season with William and Mary, but again, that was like I'm pretty sure all the balls in college are juiced, and of course, metal bats changes everything tremendously. But like, is there a scenario where he could hit 15 homers in a season? Like, is he a guy who could sneaky do that? Because if that's the case, then like them getting Lux kind of, the Williamson trade ends up being way more of an asset than Lux.
Yeah, I mean, my buddy Mikey did an article on Ben about a month ago that I actually kind of helped him, discuss his thoughts. And one of the things we talked about was him probably adding more power. He's such an athletic guy. Like, if I mean, for some of you guys that are listening and haven't been able to watch the spring, like you'll see it certainly defensively too. Really good athlete, and the fact that he's able to make contact very consistently, his in zone contact rate and overall contact rate in the minors has been really, really good. And I think those two are going to be able to maybe catapult him to maybe a 15 home run guy. I'd say like if he hits 10 home runs, I think that's a plus. I don't expect the bat to be the best. I mean, if it's even like 100 WRC plus, 105 WRC plus, and he's able to show off his defense, play, a good second base, can fill in at short and third base, like that's a really, really valuable player. Kind of reminds me of Ernie Clement a little bit when he was kind of, coming up with the Blue Jays and kind of broke out last year. So I definitely think there's some power with how good the contact skills are and how great of an athlete he is.
Yeah, I think he ran into a couple homers this year. But again, I mean, like he hit that Oppo homer against the Phillies. Am I going crazy? Like, I mean, the power there is looks way more legit than I thought. Because like last season, he hit some homers in with Tacoma and AAA. He had the one homer with Seattle, and then in like 50 plate appearances in the spring, he hits three. So like, it just seems like, and again, it's spring, so do what you want with that. But that just seems like it kind of came out of nowhere.
No, I agree. I mean, like I said, I expected him to add power with how good the bat to ball is, but I mean, the first home run was 440 feet. I mean,
Yeah.
I was at the game. It cleared the boardwalk and left field. It landed in the pond. Uh, that's something you don't see. And then he has one against the Braves. I think was like 419 to left center field, and then he has one off of I think an 89-mile-an-hour cutter from Jose Alvarado the other way. Like, I the Rays know what they're doing. I think they probably expected him to add a little bit more pop. I mean, I know that they're not banking on the bat to being really good. Like, I mean, frankly, it's not going to be the best, but if he could be a little bit above league average with good defense, like, I'm telling you, that's a really good player. And the Rays love defensive versatility, and he definitely brings that to the table.
Yeah. Now in the outfield, we mentioned that, and my co-host Evan said it made a good point saying like if the outfield is like a 5 out of 10 overall, that bodes pretty well for the Rays. I don't know if that's looking at it too high or too low or kind of average, but how are you looking at the outfield in its current configuration?
It's so much better than last year. I was honestly very disappointed they didn't really try and do too much with it. I mean, this team in the second half, outfield wise, was like worst WRC plus, worst OPS, lowest barrel rate, like pretty much lowest overall power output. But the fact that you get Cedric Mullins, a guy that knows the Rays org, I mean, just kind of being in the AL East and probably hearing about some of the good things that he's heard about them. I think he could rebound a lot. I think kind of just got a little overshadowed of what he did with the Mets. Not like the best tenure, but I think a really good rebound from Cedric Mullins. When Jacob Melton comes up, I think he's going to be very, very good. Just kind of hone in on some of the contact skills and get healthy. And then you have, I mean, guys like Giant DeLuca, Jake Fraley's looked really good in the spring. So, and that's not even mentioning Chandler Simpson, who, if he's getting on base at a 330, 340 clip, he's swiping 80 bags. I think the outfield is a lot higher of an upside. I think it's probably a healthier outfield and the floor is a lot higher, just more contact, higher floor. And I mean, definitely better defense too.
Yeah. Looking at I'm trying to think of where like the major things that we talked about. I am a little bit more lenient on the catching position this year, especially with the fact that both Fortes and Fiducia had the opportunity to have a full spring with the team and get, have a full offseason to get adjusted. I'm higher on Fortes than I thought I would be. I'm still incredibly low on Fiducia, and I think that's just because of how bad the sample size was last season and just his track record of not finding a way to even break in with the Dodgers as a backup guy. And I don't know if that's a knock on him or if that's just the backup guys for the Dodgers have been good enough. But I feel like the catching position, even though it might not have the power that it did last year, I feel like it's still fine. but I don't know. Like, how are you feeling on that end?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think I'm one of the higher people publicly on Hunter Fiducia. I think that one, I mean, it's hard to break camp with the Dodgers when you have Will Smith and Dalton Rushing. Will Smith is, I mean, at worst, a top five catcher, and Dalton Rushing has been pretty much a top 50 prospect the last 2 years. And you even, I mean, kind of have other guys in the org where it's just like couldn't really break the MLB team. It's just so loaded. Crush fastballs in the minors, really good approach at the plate, doesn't chase, doesn't whiff. And I think that the defense can be average. I think that's solid. And Nick Fortes, like if that is a backup catcher on most teams, like you're getting one of the best framers, a great game caller, is able to block pitches behind the plate, and I think he has some sneaky pull side power. I think his first strikeout of the spring was like either the last or the second to last game, so he had a really good showing. And I mean, that's not even like guys like Dominic Keegan. So I mean, if he's healthy, he's probably going to get some run pretty not soon, but he'll definitely get some run this year. So I like the group overall. I like Fiducia against righties. And I think Fortes is, I mean, they're probably going to split 50-50, but Fortes is still, I mean, a really valuable defender. And I still think that there's pop in the bat. We've seen it with Miami in like a couple stints. So
Mm.
um, I like the group.
Yeah, is there any concern injury wise so far? Is there any concern that you have on any guys? You know, of course, Walls being out. What's it called? I'm blanking. Why am I blanking on his name right now? Lux being out. I mean, they added Richie back in. Like, there's a couple of guys right now that are shelved at least for a little bit. And then on the pitching side, it seems like Pepio is going to be back this weekend. But is there any, and also Useda, is there anyone that you're looking at where you're like, oh, this could be a long-term thing?
Um, Not really. I mean, the
Okay.
luck stuff, like, I mean, the shoulder impingement's like something that's not super light. Like this, I mean, that's an injury that can kind of linger a little bit. But not too much. I know that. I mean, there was a point in the spring where it seemed like everyone had a little something going on. Like they were rolling out lineups where it was like, okay, like I think Yandy had something. I mean, obviously, like Lux hadn't played yet. Richie had a little something. Like it was kind of something with everyone. But in terms of like a major injury right now, like I don't. There's not a super big concern.
Yeah, and on top of that, we're getting someone who has been injured for the last 2 seasons back into the rotation. And luckily, whatever the hell happened with Shane yesterday in those live ABs, thank God he's okay. And I've never heard anyone, and I said it again on the season preview podcast, never heard anyone happier to get nailed with a line drive up the middle than Shane McClanahan. Like, I don't know. I mean, he's so happy to get hurt, which is a wild saying considering the fact that he's been hurt for 2 years. But him and then the rest of the rotation seems like it's pretty solid. We're already seeing Boyle get an opportunity early on. We'll see what he does with that. Seems like Seymour's gonna Boyle and Seymour are pretty solid and pretty solidified backup pieces to the rotation, which could make it as seven guys. But are you feeling positive? Are you feeling how are you feeling about the rotation as a whole?
I main thing is just health. I mean, Ryan Pepio was a career high in innings last year. Drew Rasmussen's had 3 major arm surgeries. I think he blew expectations out of the water last year. He was absolutely insane. And I mean, Shane McClanahan, like I think the spring has been pretty encouraging, right? I mean, you want the fastball shape to be a little bit better, but if he's sitting like 96-ish, like high 96, maybe 97, the changeups looked really good. So it's nice to have him back in. But I mean, you have like kind of that top three, and you still have Steven Matz, who I mean, had really impressive spring. I think it was a scoreless 11 innings.
Hmm.
He was like in the top 1% walk rate. So it's a guy that knows how to command the baseball and spot it up. And then you have a bunch of depth in terms of like Joe Boyle when he's in the zone is, I'm not even kidding, is probably a top 15 in terms of stuff, not even results, just stuff pitcher. You have Ian Seymour, who has a devastating changeup, like a 5 to 6 pitch mix. And that's not even guys that could potentially be coming up. So I'm really excited about the rotation overall, especially if I mean Brody Hopkins is probably going to be up before you know it as well.
Yeah. Any reason for concern about Nick Martinez? Again, understanding that spring is spring.
Not really. I mean, if you look at some of the grades and the shapes compared to last spring, it's really similar. And then also you kind of have to factor in like maybe they're working on some like mixing stuff, some sequencing. But I mean, Nick Martinez, like even aside from the overall player, like the person, like this is one of the best clubhouse guys in baseball. Cincinnati raved about him. San Diego did the same thing. So I mean, you can't say it's not a little concerning. I mean, right? I mean, he gave up what 11 runs in 2 innings and didn't record a strikeout. But I think if he's healthy and just on the field, and I think he's still starting this weekend, I think that's still a good addition for the team.
Yeah. Are there any major storylines that you're watching this season? Because I know it seems like a lot of people, and I think all of our group included, or at least the me, Evan, and Gibby, we're all kind of seeing the Rays as a team that's hovering around 500. Maybe they go on a run as like a sneaky playoff team, but like nothing more than that. But is there any specific storylines that you're looking for that could alter what happens with their record this year?
Um, I think if Jacob Melton is improving some of the contact skills in the minors and is healthy, and you see him like maybe a month ish, maybe a little bit after, that's a huge player that the Rays really liked. I think that could be a huge boost to the outfield. I think if Hunter Fiducia does even average behind the plate and in the back kind of plays how it did in the minors, I think that really, really helps the team and just the overall outfield. Like, I think this team is a lot better than it was last year, to be quite honest with you. The outfield last year was, I mean, one of the worst in baseball. You add two veterans, a young guy in Jacob Melton, and I mean, Chandler Simpson's going to get run too. And then, I mean, even to start the year, like Taylor Walls, love him as a defender, one of the most gifted defenders at short. But you kind of have Carson Williams get his runway with the stuff that Taylor Walls is dealing with, and you can see maybe how he develops and matures at the MLB level. And you still have guys like Ben Williamson, who's going to be playing a lot more than expected, but I think there's a lot of high upside there. And you still have the main guys with Junior Caminero, with Jonathan Aranda, with Yanni Diaz. And I think the bullpen's going to be really good. You got Griffin Jacks back at the top. You have Brian Baker. You have Clevenger. Like I think the team is definitely very, very good. And I think it is better than it is last year, especially even just their overall contact that the club's going to be able to make on the offensive side.
Yeah, I'm concerned. There's a couple bullpen moves that I was not like. You had a couple of guys that were just out of options. Like, I don't know how I feel about Cole Sulser being there, especially over Hunter Biggie. I think that they should be giving Biggie some runway. I understand everything that happened last year, but to my knowledge, he's 100%. So I don't know if there was anything that was discouraging that happened in the spring. Not necessarily loving that. Kevin Kelly pissed me off last year to no end. I had to watch Dylan Bieber to the walk-off homer over my goddamn dome and then walk to my car in absolute silence in Baltimore. So I would appreciate it if he didn't do that and like someone else gave up a homer, not him, or just no one gave up a homer at all. But like bullpen wise, anyone that you're concerned with, any moves that you were perplexed with at all?
Not really. I mean, the biggie one maybe, but also I think what they were doing is like they're going to give runway to guys that like don't have options as much. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
and Biggie, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, he looked great this spring. I think the command like wasn't the best, but he's added the new off speed, which I think the pitch is very, very good. It's already a plus pitch. And just kind of have him go down there in the minors, kind of work on some of the off speed and build back up even more. I mean, he's barely really pitched with the Rays. Give some of these guys with no options some runway, see what you kind of got there. And then Kevin Kelly, like, still think Kevin Kelly is solid. I mean, the get the sweeper kind of honed in a little bit more. I know he's been working with another off speed pitch, but I mean, just like the main kind of group, like, I mean, especially with the two new guys that we saw, I mean, last year getting acquired with Brian Baker and Griffin Jacks, like those guys are going to be absolute dogs. Like you could see, I mean, especially, I mean, everyone knows Griffin Jacks is probably a top 10 reliever in baseball, but if Brian Baker like really hones in and he's eating some really good innings and just delivering, like he could have a massive impact. And I think Hunter Biggie, once he gets to the major league club, like Hunter Biggie is so gross, just needs to stay in the zone, be healthy, and him adding a new off speed pitch is something that I thought they would do, and it's looked really, really good so far.
Yeah, and just in a general sense, I just like it's so nice to not have to talk about spring training because spring training only gives you so much. And as you mentioned, guys are working through stuff. Maybe there's situational things where like
Right.
a hitter comes up to the plate and there's two guys, imaginary guys on second and third that he's trying to put the ball one way or try to get something going. A pitcher's working through. Maybe there's imaginary runners on the corners and he's trying to work through that. But like now it's everything's real. The season's real. Everything is, everything's going to count from this point forward. And I think it's so nice. Like waking up today, was there just a feeling of just like euphoria of thank God, baseball's back. We have to, we get to worry about legit games moving forward, and we can actually start following these teams instead of just like kind of following them in spring training.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was on a call with some of my buddies that I work with in the space, and there was five of us, and I asked them, was like, what do you think is better, Christmas or opening day? And I think every single person said opening day.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just exciting, and I loved your point too of just like the situational stuff for spring. Like, I mean, yeah, I look at some of the results, but I think a lot of it is just like process over results, and just kind of like perfect example I think is Ryan Valade. Like, really like the acquisition of him. The results, I guess, weren't there, but the process, the ABs, were there. So stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we're literally what, less than 30 minutes away from the first game for the Rays. Like it's really nice to be back.
Yeah. Favorite opening day moment for you if you have one.
Um, I don't know. I kind of I don't know. What would your favorite opening day moment be?
I mean, I love the Meisner walk-off last year. That was fantastic. Trying to think through. Like Yandy hitting that homer a couple years ago. I mean, I know that the game against the Blue Jays, they got trounced, but
Yeah,
like,
over the short porch and left. Yeah, I do
yeah,
remember
yeah, that was fun. You had the Carlos Pena grand slam back in, like when he made his return. Elijah already said it, but the bases clearing triple from Denard Span back in 2018. Like it's just there's a lot of that, and I think just in the general sense of like I don't know if people necessarily have specific moments, but just having baseball back, I think is the biggest thing of like people getting to go to the ballpark, spending time with their family, their friends, loved ones, things like that. I there are moments, but at the same time, I think just the general sense of opening day is a moment in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think just, I mean, obviously we're both big baseball heads, and that's really all we do pretty much with our lives. But I mean, just as like my personality, like I function so much better just in my day to day life at work, interacting with people when there's baseball played. Like when it's the off season, and I mean, spring is great, but it's like, I mean, like you said, you can only really talk about it so much. It's just kind of continuous, and I mainly just watch it for the prospects, but having that piece of your life back in and being able to just share moments with people and going to the ballpark, like me personally, I cannot wait to walk into the Trop on the 6th. Like it is going to be, I mean, might be shedding a tear when I walk back in the place, just
As you
because.
should. I mean, it's
Yeah,
America's ballpark for a reason.
yeah, I can't be more excited. And I mean, even the show today, like, I mean, having me on, I'm really thankful for that. And I think, well, this is the third or fourth time. So,
Yeah, yeah, no,
um,
and we're gonna keep getting you on, but I have a couple small things for you to end things. So, and these are just quick hitters. Overall record, where do you see the Rays finishing out this year?
um, I think, I mean, I definitely think this is a 500 team, like for sure. I mean, I would say like probably, I'd say low end like 78. I'd say high end probably 85, 86. That's kind of
Okay.
where I was last year.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a 90-win team. I mean, hopefully old takes exposed, like this team goes absolutely nuclear, but I think low end is 78, and I think high end is 86, 87.
Yeah, so like you're kind of in that, it seems like you're in that like 81, 82, 83
Yeah, I
range
think this could
area.
be a wild card team. I do.
Yeah.
I think that they've done a good job of improving the team. I think some of the guys that were hurt. I mean, if Shane McClanahan is able to eat 120 innings and he looks solid, like that's a huge boost. And that's
Yeah.
not even guys that are going to be coming up like Jacob Melton, like maybe a TJ Nichols or a Ty Johnson, or Brody Hopkins. Like
Yeah.
I very more than anything, I'm just excited to watch the team. Like regardless of how they perform, there's a lot of young talent that they brought in with the farm that I'm really excited to watch. Like I'm almost just excited to watch minor league baseball as much as Major League Baseball. But no, I think this is definitely a better squad than it was last season.
Looking at this series against the Cardinals, again, this is going to be after opening day. Um, any like major story, I guess key to the series, what is that for you over Saturday and Sunday?
I mean, even just today and over the week, like I'm excited to see how Ryan Vlade performs. Like I really am. I think this is a really big opportunity for him. If he's able to get some ABs against lefties and kind of show off the defense a little bit. Um, I want to see how many home runs Junior Caminero is hitting like the next 2 weeks. Like anytime the guy hits a home run, like I mean, I'm wearing it right now. I have the City Connect jersey on. But I mean, it's hard not to like, I mean, the guy is literally pimping home runs in the WBC and he has an entire country behind him, but it'll be nice to hit some home runs with Rays fandom behind him starting the regular season.
Yeah. And then the last thing I have for you is who would be the your player to watch or players to watch in this upcoming series?
Hmm. Um, I think Ryan Valade. Like I genuinely like I think that this is like a pretty solid opportunity for him. And I think early on he'll be getting some ABs against lefties. And I think who else? I mean, maybe Ben Williamson. Like I don't know. I've definitely grown a lot more on him even like before we acquired him. But I mean, probably those two. I'm not going to go with like super obvious. I know Jake Fraley like raked and Setty's looked good in spring, and I think he could bounce back. But I think like those two are going to be pretty important like depth options. And if they have solid seasons, I think the Rays are a lot better of a team going forward.
Perfect. All right, well, hey, Ethan, thank you so much for coming on, man. We appreciate it as always. Want to give you the floor. Where can people find you at and everything that you got going on this year?
Yeah, just OPS underscore baseball on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube at running from the OPS, and then Instagram. I've tried to get into a little bit, not the best of it right now, but I think it's RFTO underscore baseball. But just really excited to be on the show today and excited for the season.
Perfect. All right, well, thank you so much, man. Much appreciated.
Thank you.